Go. Thanks for joining us. This is the Brew Bandit Podcast, Episode 2, the sequel.
I'm excited.
I'm Nick Holsabus.
I'm Cameron Thompson.
And we are broadcasting live from an old abandoned warehouse that used to hold crossfire tournaments in the mid-90s.
They also used to hold Beyblade tournaments. I believe over there. See that little corner over there?
Ooh, I see some metal shards.
Yep.
So by
all
Beyblade,
the wreckage.
Yeah, by the rules, kids died.
They also died from the juicy drop challenges. Some kids took that way too far, put it in their eyeballs and other areas.
Those kids died heroes and champions.
Yes.
Because once it's in your eyes, you can't top that.
Do you think they did the juicy drop challenge while playing Beyblades, or to up? There's probably an adrenaline rush at that point. You can't just let it rip.
No.
You gotta juice that drop while letting it rip.
You gotta juice the drop before you let it rip. It just makes sense.
Right. But you can't juice the rip before letting it drop.
I tried that once, and
I was there.
That's what killed my brother.
That was a dark day.
Yeah, but I never liked him.
I didn't either. He was too non-existent for me.
He was just like, Nick, I'm not real. Oh, to take a medication. I'm just like, whatever, James.
Get out of here.
And then he did.
So this is a podcast.
This is our podcast, and thanks for joining us.
Great to be here.
It's an honor to be here.
I think I'm sitting on some old Beyblade shards, but we're good.
I found a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh cards that...
I found a catapult turtle.
Nice.
Right over there.
I found Pot of Greed, which allows me to draw 3 cards, which I use to play Pot of Greed, which allows me to draw 3 cards.
That sounds like cheating.
It's not cheating.
It's a child's card game.
Yeah.
That's
the other
true.
rules.
Yep.
I'm a 31-year-old male playing a kid's card game. Come at me.
That's true. Well, Nick and I make a lot of films and movies and shows, and we kind of have this little production company that we're slowly moving forward with. Brew Bandit Productions.
Brew Bandit Productions.
Clink. And a lot of it is based off of 90s nostalgia, or kind of our love for old school 90s commercials and abandoned warehouses. So I think this is a good segue to get into Brew Bandit Productions Update.
Whoa!
Clink.
That's right. We're going to update you on exactly what we're doing.
Yes. So, Nick, what are we doing?
Well, finally trying to finish episode 4, because I looked when episode 3 came out, February. And how I was just like, don't worry, guys. I'm planning to have one up, right after this one.
That's when we were planning to, do episode after episode. We're like, okay, this has to be, 2 weeks tops for each episode. Let's do it. And
then we all wear face masks and have to stay 6 feet away from each other.
All because we didn't air the next episode of the Nick Holsabus Show.
You could argue that our show caused COVID-19 in America.
And we're bringing it back with the 4th episode.
Yeah, finally.
Or maybe we'll break the curse so maybe it's a curse thing. You think
it is.
You think because we didn't air the next episode, then the pandemic happened, and if we do finally air this next episode, that it'll be onion rings?
I'm 100% sure. I'm not even going to question this.
I'm not either. Okay, great. So we just got to air the next episode.
Super easy.
The Nightmare Realm.
The Nightmare Realm.
Which we were theming off of drama.
Yes. Because, well, when it comes to a nightmare, even though it's completely nonsense. At the time, there's like massive drama.
Very dramatic.
It's just like, oh no, the toast has a face and he's sad about it.
Or, oh no, we're gonna just drop some like crazy esoteric lore that you don't even need to know about, or is completely like well, it's related to the plot, but it's also unrelated in that like we're just spouting some nonsense gargle at you.
Nick Holzabus show lore.
Yep.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen. Watch out for those Coterans.
Those Coterans have had a bad rep.
And the, what were they called? They weren't called Subterraneans, and they weren't called Subtepians, because those are stupid sounding.
Subtepian.
God, no, it's called like, I made a cool name for it. It's like Subtorgogon.
Subnautica?
Subnautica sounds like
a game.
A game. Is it a game?
Yes, it is.
Okay. It sounded like raunchy.
Ooh. Well, it's not.
Okay, cool. Well, Subnautilus it is.
Subnautilists versus the Coterans.
We'll still work on the names.
Yeah.
Not Coterran, though. That's perfect.
Oh, yeah. That's a flawless name.
So, with these weird esoteric drama lore that we're kind of dropping in the next episode, it's kind of just to make it seem super serious, or like there's this like bigger world in the show when there's kind of not. But to make it kind of seem like, oh, Nick is part of this chosen one, and like he needs to help the Subtepians out in order for the Coterans to not rule or take over his mind, blah blah blah. And Mr. Robot is a Coterran, and he's been like kind of, it's almost like a parasite to Nick, where he lashes onto Nick with his like kind of desire of kind of like escapism in his dreams, desire to kind of run like a talk show host and stuff. And so the Mr. Robot makes this happen. He's the co-host. He makes all of Nick's wildest dreams come true, because that's what he's there for. Yeah. Also allowing him to gain power. The end result we don't really know yet, but that's Mr. Robot. He plays it close to his chest. Right now he's just trying to make Nick happy.
And at any cost.
Yes. Then Mr. Cloud, the Subtepian, that's what we're still calling it. Subtepian. He is he's been this little felt cloud on our back wall, which is also all made of felt. And he's kind of just been the weather report, always trying to warn Nick of like, oh, you have to wake up, or hey, this isn't real, or hey, you gotta do this, gotta do that. And we're finally entering the nightmare realm, where the subconscious like inner voice of Nick is kind of popping up more through Mr. Cloud, and the kind of like id parasite that is Mr. Robot has kind of died off in a way. He doesn't have as much power in this nightmare realm, because Nick's fears and Nick's like escapism is kind of shattering, which I kind of like that idea.
Oh yes, I do too.
I think we can show it really well on the show.
Basically, once we quote unquote break through, the rest of the episodes can be as wild as like we want them to be.
I feel like we can break the fourth wall a little bit too.
Yeah,
and I think this is just a way to do it.
Yes.
By throwing in some esoteric chosen one rules.
Good old chosen one rules.
You gotta love them, I guess. They're there. Good old trope to use.
It really is a trope.
There's a lot of tropes out there.
I know.
What is one of your favorite tropes? Ones that are just always used in shows.
Super easy. The, hey guys, it's me, your friend from the beginning. I'm the main bad guy. And just like, who saw that coming?
Is that the heel face turn? Is that what it's called?
I think so.
Yeah, where it's just like, I bet you didn't see this one coming. I've been your dad and the bad guy. Gotcha. Did you get it? Did you get my letter? Did you get my letter I sent you about how I was explaining all this? I'm the bad guy. Almost your dad.
And the mayor.
And the mayor. And your mom.
Riverdale.
Yeah. Oh, Riverdale. But I really like those two guys. It's Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, Timon and Pumbaa. You got a 21 and 24 for Venture Brothers. Just always like kind of two characters in the background that are just making jokes, but also kind of run the plot silently in the background. Like there's always just kind of like, oh yeah, they're just the goofy, just jokesters, but then they're also just kind of doing their own thing, or like it always kind of connects back to the main plot. Or sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, I love those two guys. It's a great way to kind of get some comic relief, but also just kind of to expand the world around your show and stuff.
Right, yes.
Which I think we're about to introduce a form of those two guys in our next episode too. The Toad Scientists.
Ah, the Toad Scientists.
Yes. Making a commercial for Toad Milk.
Which will be great because we have, of course, you.
Ugh.
And one of our very dear friends, Tony Wozni, who he has been in one thing.
He was in the first episode.
No, he wasn't.
The toaster.
Well, yes, but I was about to say he was also in, Perspective.
Okay, Perspective is our good little abomination child, which is probably our worst thing we've made so far. I find it a beautiful baby.
I do too.
I like to nurture it. That was a crazy day because like you and I were planning this day and we were doing it for like a film festival thing.
Oh yeah, UICA.
Yep, UICA. We were gonna make this movie for it, and so we were just like, okay, we have this whole plan. We have the script out. We have this weird artistic film just kind of about changing perspectives throughout the film and stuff, kind of different points of view and stuff. It was just going to be silly and fun, and we had a plan of like, okay, one of our friends is going to play this character, one of our friends is going to play this character, and we had everything laid out. The day of, we were getting stressed. I just met you at your house, picking you up, getting all the equipment. We got a call from one person saying they had to pick someone else's shift at work. And then we got a call from another person saying they can't do it. And then they got a call from another person saying like they were going to be later and not going to pop up till halfway through. So we just had to be like, crap. Yeah. Okay, we got to do this first, and then this. Okay, go over here. Now we got to rewrite the script to make this person come up first. So it was a lot of working on our toes. We only had one day to film, and that was a nice lesson in how probably not to film, and don't rush it. No. If things keep happening, then you probably know it's not meant to be.
And I guess that's like the beauty of it is that sometimes it's just not meant to be. Mm-mm. You gotta be cool with it.
And that's okay though. I think we learned a lot from Perspective. I think we worked a lot on just like You've gotten so much better on editing too.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you've been killing it, and so much better at just splicing in and just kind of editing out the extra gunk in there. And then I feel like we've also been better at formulating a better plan for episodes. I mean, a lot of our scripts are kind of just ad-libbing, or we just have outlines of things. But we do have scripts here and there. This podcast is kind of just keep talking about things.
Don't downplay this podcast.
I'm just saying we don't have a script. We only have an outline, and that's good. But I think our set design has gotten better, especially from the Nick Hulsebus show.
Yeah, it really has.
And we have our nice studio, and then we're always finding like new things to put on our little Applebee's wall that we got going on.
The Applebee's wall.
We got a nice desk. We got a nice wall with our little felt design, and we made the robot together, and we're actually remaking the robot right now, Mr. Robot 2.0.
Which, if you've been checking out our Instagram, which I know all of you have,
every single one of you,
you've noticed the updates and how things are getting pretty wild.
It's getting pretty crazy. We got a lot of ideas coming up, and Nick's been making a lot of his own little music videos and stuff. The Mewtwo one.
That one, yeah.
Yeah, that one's cool. And I still want like little clips so I can put on the Instagram.
Oh, absolutely.
And then our Mr. Robot, he's pretty cool. Nick a while ago for Christmas got me these like battery powered like neon lights, and I've been able to incorporate them into the chest piece of the robot. And I got red cellophane, so like I'm cutting things out, and I'm just like adding this red visor around things. We found a really cool cardboard, just like this natural cardboard that just has a dot, and like a little like mouth underneath it.
Yeah,
it just looks like a perfect face that I want to spray paint silver, use as kind of like the little face mask. I have to cut like a little square in the middle of it, so it looks like it'll have like just like a awkward red visor for a nose.
Okay.
But that'll be where I can see.
Nice. Which will be a lot more handy than the previous robot, which
just had tiny little holes for me to see through.
Yeah, like you could barely see.
I can't. I'll barely able to. I won't be able to see. Still, it'll be hard.
Good.
And everything will be red. But I'm okay with that. Yeah, it's going good. Pretty much I just need to find some old pair of shorts and then take like those, what are they called? The like metal legs that we've been using.
Those like AEC tubes?
Yeah, just part of like air conditioning, like tinfoil tubes that I'm using is just the robot legs. I essentially want to sew wire through my old pair of shorts and the metal leg parts so that it'll be easier to just like slip on almost like a pair of robot pants.
Now, Cam, I thought like we bought a pair.
Yeah, but I realized I liked them, so I want to find just an older pair because I'm wearing them now.
Nice.
Not these,
okay.
Not right now, but I am wearing them lately.
Right.
They're my new favorite like workout, just like lounge shorts. So
they're good shorts.
Yeah, they were nice, and I was like, oh yeah, let's find like a worse pair than these. So yeah, doing that, making robot legs, got to work on the head, and he'll be ready to activate in a little bit. That's robot noise.
It is.
Beep, boop, bop, boop, boop, boop. Just like that. It makes all those noises.
It has to. It speaks Robanese.
It's true. So, what other film ideas do we got going on? Are we working? I know we've kind of been working on. I kind of want to work on like a detective murder mystery eventually.
That would be super fun.
Like kind of like I love noirs so much.
Yeah.
Old school like Maltese Falcon.
And with that, most of that is just like narration.
A lot of style has to be put into it. Black and white, if you want to do black and white.
Right.
Just kind of getting a good noir script going on, following that language. I'm down for it. But I had a question for you, Nick.
What's up?
I love noirs and detective films, but I've also been loving like detectives throughout like the ages and different shows. What are some of your top favorite fictional detectives?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Right now,
one of my top has to be Inspector Gadget, in which I just want to quickly point out there is this theory that I love.
What's your theory?
Well, it's that the claw is the actual Inspector Gadget. And the other guy
is?
Yes, and the other guy is a robot.
Inspector Gadget.
Yes. And the proof I have is the fact that first and foremost, you don't ever see his face.
You don't ever see his face.
No, like you never see his face.
Okay.
In the episodes in which he would capture Penny, she was always just like super well taken care of because that's his niece. So why would he ever hurt her?
So he's the real Inspector Gadget.
Yes, and he despises this like robot
that took his identity.
Yes.
But why is he bad then?
Because
doing bad guy things.
Because when they went to create him, quote unquote, the first time, it caused him just to like go insane. That's why his voice is all just like raspy and metallic.
You think through trying to improve himself, be better, and like trying to stick to the girl good, he lost his morality along the way?
Yes.
Well, and his sanity.
Oh yeah.
And what does he steal? What is he always trying to steal?
That's the thing. Like he never has a goal. He just wants to take care of Inspector Gadget, because all of like his like schemes are pretty easy for like normal people, just to beat him.
Yeah. So, or do you think he's testing the new and improved Inspector Gadget 2.0, where this inspector needs a foil, needs a villain, and needs to kind of be tested to test the new inspector's morality?
Okay, so that like he doesn't fall into the same trap he did.
Yes,
I like that.
I think we made a better Inspector Gadget show than what it actually is.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And it should be it also should be live action.
Yes. It could be. I think now these days, I think it could work out. I remember the Matthew Broderick one was
phenomenal and great. I agree.
I don't remember it much other than it being silly, and I really liked the McDonald's toys where you put them all together and all the bits and stuff.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
And it created an Inspector Gadget.
Yeah, and it was a big one, too.
I know. It was like a good like foot tall.
Back when McDonald's toys were good.
Right.
You heard it here first.
They suck now.
Yep.
Prove me wrong.
With one of my favorite detectives, I'm not going in like any order, but the one I'm first thinking about is Elisa Mazza from Gargoyles.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, she's a real badass detective. She follows her instincts all the time. She has a really good code of honor that she follows. She follows the law, and she follows the honorable side of the law, where this is wrong for this and this and this, and I'm going to follow my gut in order to take this person down, instead of just nope, that's the law, we're just gonna let him go. But she tries her best with being a cop, but also she knows that she has some pretty powerful allies in the Gargoyles, and she's really into that Goliath. Goliath is into her. I ship them. I'm all for them. But that Xanatos is always trying to steal her man.
That's because he truly loves him.
He's really in love with Goliath, but more for the power aspect than anything else. He's just I just want to dominate him, which, maybe go for it.
He just wants to be dominated by him.
I think that's really what he wants. But he always says, in an episode, I still have the edge. I just wanted to prove that I could dominate Goliath. He says that. So, and then he has a metal suit that looks exactly like Goliath, and then he clones Goliath, and it's essentially their son. His name is Thalog, Goliath backwards, and he has the brute strength and gargoyle appearance of Goliath, but the brains of Xanatos. And they're just what did we do with our son? He's messing us both up. And Elisa Maza is just like, whatever, I'm just gonna kick him, and just jumps into the action. Even when she's a damsel in distress, she like finds a way to escape herself, and she never like when people come to rescue her, she's already like on her way to escaping herself, and then meets them halfway. And it's just like, hey, what'd I miss? Okay, let's go. She's great. Yeah, it's a great show. We're halfway through the world tour part right now.
Nice.
And I'm digging it. At first, I didn't like the world tour part because it like goes away from their regular place in Manhattan, and they're on just this crazy magical trip from Avalon to like jump all over the world and save people. And it's just Goliath, Eliza, this gargoyle dog named Bronx, and Goliath's daughter Angela, and they're just going around the world solving mysteries. But Maza still has the same character like profile. It's just like, hey, if something happens, like, I'm gonna protect my friends. I know that they're gonna protect me. I'll find a way to escape. Like, she just trusts her gut, and she's a dope detective. She's a dope character for sure.
Nice.
Who's your next one?
I'm gonna go with Detective Conan off of the anime.
Okay.
Case Closed.
I want to be honest and say I've never watched a full episode.
I have, I believe, season 1, but it's in like hardcore Japanese.
So it doesn't have subtitles?
It might.
But you have to decipher them.
I think so.
With like a code breaker.
With a cold rain and a box of Apple Jacks in 1994.
Yeah, those were dope.
Those were.
Why do you like Conan?
Well, because each episode is your basic just like, oh no, like who stole this, or like how did this person get murdered?
Mm-hmm.
But then because it's an anime, it's got some anime bullshit. That's
a trope right there.
Yes.
Some anime bullshit.
Yes, it's a hard trope. It's just like, oh, how come you wanted that person? It's like, oh, because I lost a bunch of weight and I was wearing a fat suit just so that people who made fun of me, I could hunt them down and kill them. But how did you know, Edigawa? And he's just like, oh, because I'm in this alternate room disguised as my adult self using my adult voice that I still can use.
Wait, he can still use his adult
yes.
voice? Okay. But he chooses not to?
Because he's a kid.
Because he's a kid.
But what I don't understand is, tell people. They could probably help you.
Yeah. Like, he can figure... So is it a curse? Or is it just
No, like people who I guess, like, rivals on like one night, like, captured him and they forced him to like, eat this pill.
And so then he just...
Turned into a child.
That's some anime bullshit right
It
there.
is.
Oh, I just realized. Is Yusuke from Yu Yu Hakusho technically a detective? Because he was a ghost cop once they brought him in as like this like...
Spirit detective.
Spirit detective,
yes.
technically.
Yusuke, you're messy.
I wasn't going to have this as one of my tops, but I'm just asking for a friend. He's not really a detective though. In the first in the first season, they give him like little items that like you can use this to track demons around. You can use this to track ghosts. You can use this, but like then it kind of just becomes.
They dropped that plot line.
But fast. then it just kind of becomes the demon tournament where he fights, and they just like let's get all the best characters and have them fight, and it's awesome. But I would for his detective skills. Actually, like, solving problems, he just kind of solves with his fists. And he's kind of just a fighter.
Yeah.
And he protects the world. And he protects the real world pretty well. But I wouldn't say he's an official detective.
No.
It's a spirit detective. They're different. A detective that is similar to a spirit detective, but also not, is Agent Dale Cooper from Twin Peaks. I really dig him. He's an inspiration to a lot of people. He's a great, chipper, enthusiastic character. He's like, Diane, I am here in Oregon, and I love the smell of trees. I love this dude. And he loves coffee, and he loves pie, and he's just very enthusiastic, but he also is, again, one of those detectives that is very reliant on his instinct and his gut, and he has a lot of weird dreams, and he follows kind of dream logic a lot. And this being Twin Peaks, that gets you somewhere, even if it's trapped in a crazy place.
It gets you everywhere.
And then he goes and gets trapped in another doppelganger's body once Bob takes over his body, and just man, it gets crazy. And then he has amnesia, Alzheimer's for 18 episodes. But even then, he's still a nice, charismatic, good little Dougie, I think he was called.
Okay.
He was great. Dale Cooper's great. I value his detectivemanship quite a bit. That's a word.
It is now.
Yeah, I know. Who's next?
I was about to end this segment, but one more thing.
Oh, crap.
Columbo.
Alright, one more thing. Peter Falk.
Who was a phenomenal actor.
Yeah. Goofy, too, but I loved him. Yeah.
The cool thing about Columbo is his whole shtick was he was aloof. He was just I'm not paying attention to anything.
Oh, guess what? I'm paying attention to everything.
I've been here since day fucking one, dummy. I know it was you. I just needed evidence, and you told me because you thought I'm just a drunk.
It kind of comes off as a drunk.
Oh yeah, constantly. It's just being
it's goofy. You're just oh, sorry, I'm just rummaging over here. And you're what is this goofy guy rummaging? And he found a ring that apparently it's not yours.
This ring looks awfully lot like the one that was missing off the corpse of that young woman.
Nope, it's definitely not it, officer. Okay, goodbye. Or one more thing. You got me.
Right. As soon as he says that, it's game over.
Yeah, you're done. Columbo's got you. Going along the same lines of Columbo is that he solves murders. But who writes the murders? She does. She wrote it, everyone. She wrote that murder. It's Angela Lansbury.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. She's a great detective.
Oh, yes, easily.
Because no one really suspects that she's just kind of always around, always paying attention. They're just oh, yeah, and our friend Angela's here. And, Angela's just hey, what's up? I'm just a kind old lady. Also, I'm, watching everyone at this party and, keeping an eye. I noticed something about your dress that's, a little weird in the first scene or the second scene or whatever. And later that pops up again. She's oh, yeah, I noticed this from, 20 minutes ago in the show. And you're done. She also always sets up traps for people. It's always, she calls the bumbling policemen's. And she's hey, call this, or she calls the actual murderer, and just hey, I think I found out who the murderer is. Meet me at this place. And she sets herself up as bait to constantly to just be I'll be at this place. The murderer's coming out, lured out with a gun, about to shoot Angela, and then all the cops came out. One time, the murderer actually shoots Angela. But it turns out it was this crazy-ass fever dream that Angela had during a dinner party that you saw her have the beginning of the episode, and that the whole rest of the episode didn't exist. Whoa. It was just her thinking of a story idea, and that's how she comes up with stories and writes stories and stuff. there's a theory that she's the actual murderer, and that she's made all of these happen, and that she's just writing this all up. There's another theory where, I like my idea better. Okay, so she has this weird, how you want to say, deal with some sort of god or some sort of trickster god or something, where she can become the greatest writer in the world, and we see that she becomes so famous everyone knows her after a while.
Yes,
but in order for that to happen, death is always following her, and deaths always happen around her. She almost has this aura that just attracts murders or deaths to happen.
Yeah.
And that's why she can write so much about it and stuff, is because it's always happening around her. She's just kind of a magnet for it. And that's why she becomes so desensitized by death, where she looks and yep, another dead body. Here we go.
Yep, he's dead.
Yep, he's dead. And I feel like there's just this kind of magical aura around her. First, she didn't really know what to expect, but I feel like the more it's happened, the more desensitized she got, and she always has constant ideas for her next book. She has so many books.
She does.
I think that's how she came up with them. I think that's a pretty good amount of detectives. Have you been watching any detective shows lately, or what kind of shows do you watch right now?
Well, right now I'm still watching Avatar.
Nice.
The Last Airbender.
What season are you on?
I'm on book 2.
That's probably the best book, honestly.
I really like book 3, though.
Book 3 is good, but think of the writing and that Empire Strikes Back ending, and just
Zula just kills AIM.
And Zuko alone is in season 2, and that's a really good episode. There's just really good character dynamics, character development, and just Zuko's entire arc of trying to be a good boy, but never quite gets it. Until season 3. Way later than you think.
Well, yeah.
But, hello, Zuko here. He does it eventually.
But in season 3, though, Sokka turns into quite the badass.
He does. Well, he's been doing that since season 1.
Well, yes.
But he gets better and better.
He learns how to use a sword.
I think Sokka fixes kind of that kind of third or fourth or fifth wheel of a character, kind of how Xander is in Buffy, where he's just kind of the lovable goof who's kind of he's the Zeppo. He doesn't have anything going on for him.
Yeah, he never really had
Xander was also kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, and he made some things that just really questionable, where I think some people, I guess, don't really like Sokka for that same reason, but I think he's a lot more moral, and he is very strategic, and he's got a lot of good ideas, and he also trusts his instincts. You know what we can talk about? Sokka's instincts. Just a little bit more. We don't need to. It's a great show. Korra's very good, but I think
that's what I hear.
Falters just a little bit, and just has some problems here and there. I really like Korra, but I feel like it doesn't have that narrative consistency that the Avatar: Last Airbender does. But I really like seasons 1 and 3 of Korra.
Okay.
And I suggest you at least watch it once. Yeah, it's a good one.
I should, yeah.
I'm watching Gargoyles.
Yes.
Very good. I'm watching. I just watched all the Umbrella Academy for the second time yesterday.
Nice.
To get ready for the second season. It's a pretty good show. I like it. I've never read the graphic novel, but I've always wanted to. I feel like maybe the fans of the graphic novel might not like the show, but I really haven't met a person who has watched and read both.
Okay.
But I liked the characters, and I liked the development of the characters a lot. And I liked these two time hunters, these two time killers, Cha Cha and Hazel. They were cool, like those two guys almost.
Okay.
That kind of trope. But they're a little bit more heavy into the plot. It's a fun show, and it has cool style and it has a good soundtrack. It's fun. I suggest that one too. What else we got? I think this would be a good cue to. This is my new segment I like to call "Let's Wrap This Podcast Up."
Ooh, that sounds like a fun segment.
Yeah.
Okay. So, get ready for this Friday. There's going to be something up on our YouTube channel.
Something pretty awesome.
Something amazing.
You can listen to it. You can watch it. You can eat it eventually. Maybe technology will find a way to take media and just put it into a Fruit Loop, like print it onto a Fruit Loop, and you can eat it.
Yes.
No, not a Fruit Loop. Fruit Roll-Up.
Ooh, yeah.
That makes more sense.
Like the kind that they had where it was just like, oh, it's a space themed.
Or it's faces. They're all stretched out.
Yeah, and like you just have to take them out, and oh no, they're all stretched out and like worthless.
Yeah, and then it's like, I put the star on my wrist, and now I'm going to eat it.
It's like, oh, okay.
Now I got weird red goo on my wrist.
Oh.
That's fun. But, Nick, how do we get out of this warehouse?
Well, we have to look for the door. So
we climbed through a window, but I don't think we can climb back. Nick, I think this is our new home.
Well, looks like we live in this warehouse.
Let's play some blades.
Blades.
Let her rip.
Let her rip. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for listening.
Have a pleasant rest of your day.
Yeah, keep killing it.
Bye.
Goodbye.